The portal to Atlantis has been discovered, but the only way to enter it is to unlock it by deciphering clues and investigating pyramids found on the bottom of the ocean. In this new game, Lost Atlantis from AEG, you're going to be taking on the role of a submersible crew scouring the bottom of the seafloor searching for these clues. Today, I'm going to give you a preview of this game, which is going to be coming to Kickstarter soon. In Lost Atlantis, you're going to have a board set up here, which represents the sea floor. Now, I have already set up a game and played through it in progress, so you're not going to start with everything you see here, but I wanted to give you a good idea of what the board is going to look like. The object of the game is to discover these pyramids. There are 7 of these pyramids spread out across the seafloor. However, you have to discover them by searching for specific seafloor tiles. And you're going to see these tiles out here on the board. Now, one of the key things to consider when you're listening to this preview is that these seafloor tiles can come in 2 different ways. You can have individual sea tiles, which are these tiles that are sitting out here, or you can have what's called a search group, which is a whole group of tiles that are connected together. For example, here's one that's 3 tiles long, and you have a lot bigger one here. As you're exploring, you'll be able to play these tiles by drawing them from the deck. Whenever you're drawing tiles, it's going to give you potential clues as to the whereabouts of these pyramids. You're going to see that represented here in this center board. This is the portal that we have discovered that will lead to Atlantis. Now, in a 2 or 3 player game, you're going to be using this overlay. In a 4 player game, you're just going to use what's printed on the board. That is going to start the game seated with a few of these crystals or gems on the individual spaces. In addition, each player is going to start with a submarine. And this submarine is going to come into play with circles and stars blocking all these equipment spots and these victory point icons. As you're playing the game, you're going to be able to unveil these to earn more victory points at the end of the game, or you're going to be able to place more equipment tiles to be able to level up your both attack power and movement speed. Movement in this game is done in a very interesting way. Borrow some mechanics from popular miniatures games. You're going to have a movement stick that you can use to move. For example, if I'm controlling this black submarine, I can use this movement stick to place anywhere along the edge of my ship, and I can potentially move to the end of it. And there are a few rules governing that, but in general, that's how you're going to be moving your submarine around the seafloor. However, as you level up that submarine, you'll get longer chains, and these chains can actually be twisted at their axes, so you can actually move in different patterns. Now, there's a few different ways you can move around the seafloor, and this all happens during the movement phase, which is at the very start of your turn. So you're going to be doing one of 3 things. Most turns, you're going to be exploring. Exploring is how you're going to discover new tiles. You're going to lay out your movement stick here, and then you're going to get to place a tile anywhere alongside that as long as it fits on the board. And when I say you're going to draw a tile, you've got a stack of level 1 tiles here, which are a little easier to explore, but don't have as many resources. Or you can draw level 2 tiles. Now, the only way to draw level 2 tiles is to have map tokens. And there are 5 different types of tokens that we'll talk about here in a minute. But for example, if I would choose to place a level 1 tile, I get my choice of 2 of those tiles. I look at those tiles and I place them out anywhere adjacent to this line. So for example, I could place this tile right there. Now, you're going to discover a few things when a tile comes out. First of all, each one of these tiles is going to have a clue printed on it. You're either going to have a cardinal direction, which is the case here, or you're going to have a pyramid icon. Now, if you discover a cardinal direction, that is giving you a clue as to which direction the next pyramid is. Now, like I said, I put out 4 pyramids already. The goal is to discover 7 of these pyramids. So, in this case, since I know that the next pyramid is going to be discovered in the north sector, I can take this little pyramid token and place it on this portal pointing north. Now, if I was to get another tile, for example, one that said west, I'd actually move this to the northwest, and you'll know that we're going to be putting out a pyramid in the northwest. Same could happen for northeast if I draw a north and an east in a row. Now, anytime you discover the pyramid, when you draw a tile that has that pyramid icon, that's how you know you've discovered pyramid number 5. I look at this token, it says 5, and it's pointing towards the northeast. I would grab the 5 pyramid, and you're going to see these pyramids all have numbers on them. It may be kind of hard to see on camera, but I'm going to get to place this pyramid anywhere in the northeastern section of the board. So I could place that pyramid right there. And that pyramid is going to come seated with a few puzzle pieces. Off to the side, we're going to have 3 levels of puzzle pieces. This is the point value that these puzzle pieces are going to grant you. And on the other side, there are letters A, B, C, and D. If you collect a full set, like you'll see here, you're going to be able to turn that in for some points at the end of the game. But for example, you're always going to seed a pyramid with 6 of these tiles. And the breakdown of those is printed on the player aid. It's going to show you how many of each type to use. But you'll gather those up, you'll shuffle them so that all you see are their letters, and you'll be placing these on the pyramid. So for example, I could place 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles out here on this pyramid. Those tiles are going to go to the players that explore that pyramid space. Now, whoever discovered the pyramid is going to get to take that pyramid token off of the portal and place it next to them. This is going to be worth victory points at the end of the game. So now, as we go through and explore more of these tiles, we'll find more clues. We might end up putting out the 6, then it might tell me that it is in the south. For example, I might find the 7, and it will tell me it's in the west. Now, there is another way to bring out these tiles early. If you look on these little tiles, you'll see a number of artifacts, somewhere between 1, 2, or 3 artifacts. Artifacts are another token you can collect. You can spend those to just discover the pyramid on your turn without waiting for that pyramid tile. Now, a few other things do happen when you discover a tile. You're going to look at the number of squares on that tile, and you're going to place tokens there. You're going to draw tokens from this bag. And like I said, there are 5 different types of tokens in here, but you're going to randomly draw one of these tokens, and you're going to place it there on that tile. And the last thing you're going to do to complete your movement is take your submarine and place it on that tile, and your movement is finished. Now, these 5 different tokens represent 5 different types of things on your player board. And you're going to see spaces to put all 5 of those tokens. Your torpedoes are going to increase your combat strength. Those are your red tokens. Your green tokens give you what's called a boost, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then over here you have 3 special tokens. You have your maps, which let you draw your level 2 tiles. You have your artifacts, which can be either spent to discover pyramids early or can be played on the board to increase your point modifier at the end of the game. And then you have your pink or purple monster tokens. And these are going to be monsters that you fought during the game. They're going to be worth 1 victory point at the end of the turn. So all of those tokens are going to be held on your player board. So that was one type of movement. I said that there were 3. So the second one I want to talk about is expand. If you are already on a seafloor tile, like this one here, you can expand out that search zone. Instead of moving, I can simply take another tile and place it with the same rules. If it's a level 1, I can draw 2 and choose one. Or, for example, I could spend my map token and I could place a level 2 tile there instead. So I'm going to go ahead and place that level 2 tile. Now here again, we see that pyramid icon. I would come over here and find the next pyramid. Pyramid 6 is going to go somewhere in the south. So I'd be able to place that pyramid somewhere in the south. And then I get to collect this token again for in-game scoring points. From that point on, we're going to fill that tile like normal. And again, we're going to have any of those 5 different possible types. Now you'll notice in this particular instance, we do have that pink monster already printed on the board. If a monster is printed on a board, it's considered a guardian and it can never be removed. If you draw a pink monster token, that token or gem can actually be removed when the monster is defeated. So just like always, you'll move on to that tile when it's done. The third thing you're going to be able to do for movement is simply travel from one tile to another. As long as you have the range on your movement, you can move. For example, black would be free to move. Since they can reach it, they can move from this tile all the way to this tile that they already own. Now, if you do that, that is when you can spend your green boost token. I moved. Normally my move would be over. I don't get to explore anything new, but black could spend a boost token and still expand that search zone. So they could still put out another tile. And again, they're finding another clue, which we already have on the board, and they're putting out those tokens and moving onto this tile. So that is the 3 different types of movement you can do. You can choose not to boost. You can simply move from one tile to another tile and sit there, because the next phase of your turn, after you're done moving, is fighting. You're potentially going to fight for control of that tile. Now, it's going to be a little different based on where you are. If you're just on a tile like this, you're going to count up all of the monster tiles printed across that entire search zone, because all the adjacent monsters are going to kind of join in that fight. So if orange wanted to fight for control of this tile, they're going to have 2, 4 strength. If they have 4 strength printed on their board, they're going to win. If they don't, they can spend those torpedo tokens to increase their strength. For example, red has 2. I can spend 2 more torpedo tokens to get to a total of 4. I can win that space. Now, when you win a space, you're going to get to upgrade your ship. If the space is a star, you're going to take a star from your player board and place it there, which is going to unlock more victory points for you. If it is a circle, instead you can upgrade either your speed or your torpedoes, which is going to be your attack strength. You'll get to choose. You can only take one of the 2 options. Other players can come in and place their control markers as well. So that's what happens if you're on a regular tile. If there are no monsters, meaning no printed monsters or no tokens on the board, then you just win automatically and you get to take control of that space. If you're on a pyramid and you attack it, things are a little different. Say, for example, blue was over here on this level 4 pyramid. You're going to look and you're going to see a number of printed monster tokens on the pyramid already. So in this instance, blue would have to have a combat strength of 4. If they do, they're going to get to take their star and they're going to put it in the topmost space of the pyramid that's available. They're claiming that. It's going to give them more victory points. It's important because now, wherever you are sitting at the end of your turn, you're going to gather. If you're sitting in a cluster or search zone, you're going to gather the gems. You're going to gather gems equal to your total strength. So for example, if I had a total strength of 2, I had spent those 2 torpedoes, so my strength this turn is 4. I'd get to take 4 of these gems. Unfortunately, there's only 3, so I would get to take all of those. If you end your turn on a pyramid, you're going to get to take pyramid tokens instead. So for example, blue, it was the first one here, they're going to get to take 3 pyramid tokens. If somebody else came in, say orange came and took a lesser spot, they were the second one there, they're going to get to take 2 pyramid tokens. If black came in, they'd get to take 1. These pyramid tokens are going to, like I said, have a point value on the back, but you're looking to complete sets A, B, C, and D. So you'll see here, orange has already completed a set. That lets me claim any one of these spaces outside the ring. I can claim right here. If you claim an area with a gem, you're just going to take the gem and put it in front of you. And each time you complete one of these sets of 4, you're going to be able to claim another space. And you'll have other players coming in and claiming these spaces as well. Now, there is another way to claim those outer spaces without completing your puzzle, and that's actually to travel to the portal directly. If you can end your movement on the portal here in the center, you'll get to place one of your tokens out for free, even if you didn't complete that entire puzzle piece. But these are all going to be valuable for in-game scoring purposes. And once you gather, it's the end of your turn, it's going to go to the next player, and they're going to start again. They're going to choose one of those 3 movement options. They're going to choose if they want to attack the tile or pyramid they're on, and then they're going to gather materials based on whether they're in the seafloor or on a pyramid. Again, you're looking for clues, putting these puzzle pieces together, trying to complete them in order to place your tokens out here on the board, because the game is going to end in one of 2 ways. First of all, if this bag is empty, and this bag is going to be seeded at the beginning of the game based on the number of players playing, you're going to have certain numbers of each type of token in here, or the game is going to end when every one of these spaces in this circle is claimed. And again, you're going to have different amount of spaces for a different player game. But either way, once that's done, you're going to finish the round back to the first player, and then you're going to score up everything you've done. This ends up turning into kind of a point salad game where almost everything you've done during your game is going to score. In fact, there is a player aid score pad here that's going to show you all the different ways you score. First, you're going to score for all the stars you've managed to remove on your player board. You're going to look at the highest printed value. That's how many points you're going to score. The second thing you're going to score is all those puzzle tokens you discovered. Like I said, they all have values printed on the back. You're just going to flip over all your different puzzles and you're going to add together the total, and that's how many points you're going to have. Keep in mind, when you're drawing from the portals, you're drawing them face down. You don't know what the point value is, but the higher level portals have a higher number of level 3 tokens. Next, you're going to score for the center tiles. Now, I mentioned that you can increase the multipliers of these by paying these artifact tokens. So at the end of the game, everyone can take turns in player order placing their artifact tokens out here to boost these specific spaces. So at the end of the game, you're going to multiply the number of discs or tokens you have in one area times that multiplier. So each one of these, black would get 1 point, blue would get 1. But over here, since the times 3 is showing, blue would get 3 points for each one of these, and black would get 3 points for this. And over here, orange would get 3 points for each of these. So you can max out. Each one of these tokens could become worth 5 points. So getting a lot of artifacts and placing a lot of tokens out here is definitely a strategy for winning the game. Next, you're going to look at who controls the largest search zone, and I talked about that being the biggest cluster. Multiple people can have tokens in some of these areas that allow you to have 2 tokens, but majority is going to go to whoever has the most. So in this instance, blue has by far the most, so they control this cluster. It's the biggest cluster on the board. And they're going to give 5 points to the person that owns that one. Whoever owns the second largest chain is still going to get 2 points, so that's something. Next, you score how well you upgraded your submarine. Each of those equipment discs that you put on the board is going to give you an ability during the game. Whoever did the most of that is going to score, again, 5 points. Whoever had the second most out is going to get 2 again. Lastly, you're going to look at all the monsters you killed. Every time you beat a tile that has a monster token on it, you're going to get to take that token and put it on your player board. At the end of the game, you're just getting 1 point for each one of those monsters. And lastly, you're going to look at all the different pyramids that you discovered, and you'll know that because you kept the token. You're going to get 2 points for each one of these. So all of those different things that you're doing during your turn are all going to attribute to points at the end of the game. So if you like point salad games, you're going to really enjoy this because it gives you a lot of different strategies that you can use to win. You can go heavy on the puzzle pieces, you can go heavy on the artifacts, you can go heavy on just collecting the gems or upgrading your submarine. So there is a lot of different play styles available in this game, and I think people that like that are going to really enjoy it. And again, you're going to have an incredibly modular experience every game you play because you're actually building out the game board while you play it, including placing out these pyramids in random places. The person that's discovering the pyramid gets to place it. So they can put it in a location in that quadrant that is very advantageous to them, or they can push it all the way to the very edge and make it very difficult to get to. So that is the game. Lost Atlantis is on Kickstarter right now. You'll notice I have been using the 5th player expansion, so that's going to change the game a little bit as well. You'll be able to play with 5 players if you have that. So check out the game on Kickstarter right now. Come back here, leave any comments, ask any questions. Let me know which aspect of this game you're most excited about. And as always, thank you for watching, subscribing, and following us at MVM, and I will see you next time.